Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey David, how are you doing tonight?
Well, that was a really super bitter loss, I have to say, to the Vancouver Canucks. It was a game the Oilers had in hand, and we're going to have a little disagreement because we've talked about it, but I think the Oilers pissed that game away and handed it to the Canucks. The game in hand could have easily won, and they just couldn't get it done because fundamentally mental errors. And I know tons of fans, including you, are mad at the referee. Fair enough. But I think the bigger factor in this game was mental errors by the Oilers. And this is what I'm noticing, Bruce, actually in the last, it's just the NHL now. The games are so close. The teams are so close. Um, the games come down to goaltending, bounces, and mental errors that are quickly punished by the skill of the opposing team.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't have anyone on the team making those kind of mental errors on a consistent basis. And if you have guys who are consistently making them, you're going to lose. You're not going to be a playoff team, that's for sure. And right now, the Oilers aren't headed towards the playoffs. They're not trending there because some of their best players are making mental errors consistently, game in, game out, and it's just killing this team. Do they want to make the playoffs or not? That's what they should be asking themselves over Christmas. Have a good hard think about it because you got to stop making those mental errors. Anyway, we're getting ahead of myself.
Like getting too
Um,
satisfied and fat and happy on a one-game winning streak. Like that
yeah,
team can't play two decent games in a row to save their souls right now.
and they weren't terrible tonight. Obviously,
No,
they were
they were.
playing a good game, but they just again and they had some decent goaltending from Koskinen. Um, well, all right. Anyway, this is our two good things, two bad things, two numbers podcast about the Oilers 4-2 loss to Vancouver. Bruce, what's your good thing?
My good thing from this game is play of rookie defenseman Caleb Jones. I really liked his play. He earned an assist on the Oilers tying goal 1-1 on mind you, from the back end, he set that one up because it was mostly a rush by Ryan Nugent Hopkins that resulted in the goal. But that was just one of many fine moments for Caleb Jones, who during his 12 minutes of ice time, the Oilers outshot the Canucks 9-2. They had a couple of pretty darn good chances. He himself made a very gritty block of a highly dangerous shot where he paid the price and took away uh, what appeared to be a grade A scoring chance from Vancouver. And I just like, he was. I liked his game in all aspects tonight, moving the puck, skating well,
His best
and
game as an Oiler this year, I thought.
yeah, no, certainly, yeah, I had no sort of negatives to it at all, really.
He's been coming on. He got off to a rocky start, I think, with this new coaching staff, or maybe he was just too nervous himself about making the team or something. Maybe he sensed the competition from Bear and others, Joel Persson, that was going to make it hard for him. But he was not. He looked like he was trying to force things in preseason and even early in the year when he came up. But tonight was the first game where he really reminded me of the player we saw last year, at least when he was played in third pairing, who was just really capable, puck mover, solid, good decisions with the puck. You could see Russell deferring to him, counting on Jones, like constantly putting it, like this is Russell's game, of course, but
Hmm.
constantly putting it over to Jones for Jones to make the play out of the Oilers zone, and Jones consistently making it tonight. This is huge, Bruce, for the Oilers to have another young defenseman in Jones coming on strong. Ethan Bear is obviously playing really strong hockey, had another decent game. So here we have these two guys that, were kind of low round draft picks that year, as well as John Marino, but that's another story. And they're getting it done. It's just really good news for the Oilers, and it's why the Oilers are real 500 right now. They have 20 wins and 20 losses, correct?
Yes.
So that's again at the start of the year. If someone had said to me at Christmas time, if someone said to you, if the Oilers are real 500 at Christmas, would you take that? Of course, I would take that. That's fantastic, and they're ahead of the pace they set last year. Last year at this after 40 games, the Oilers they just they'd already had that terrible game against San Jose, as you recall, That was, I think, their 39th game where they just got, and it was after Christmas, and they just got destroyed by San Jose on the forecheck. So the Oilers are a better team than they were last year. They have more defensive depth. They've got better goaltending. They've got better third and fourth line play. But they're making these mental errors. And okay, I'll get to my good thing now. James Neal,
Mm-hmm.
he's not a great even strength player. He's not even a good even strength player. He's okay, maybe. But he's better than Milan Lucic was last year in a number of really significant ways. And one of the ways is when he goes to the net, good things happen. And on both the Oilers goals, there he was, played a part in both of them. Kind of a hard charge on Nuge's goal that opened up that side of the ice, and then he screened the power play goal. So that's the kind of play that Milan Lucic, although he was supposed to be the net front guy, he just never or rarely made that kind of play last year at all. And Neal makes it fairly regularly, enough to make a difference in games. And he's a slow skater, but when he's going to the net and when he's physical, he's I would say significantly better at even strength and better player than Milan Lucic. So um, I like him okay.
Yeah, I don't know about the even strength part of that. He's way better on the power play. And Lucic, he had this extremely annoying habit where he'd be in front of the goalie, casting this huge mountain shadow on him, and then the puck would go back to a guy in shooting position, and Lucic would turn to the side of the net and open up for a pass, and then open up the goalie's view to the shot instead of, stay there and screen the guy, like your job. It used to drive me nuts. He used to always do it. He'd turn out to the side of the crease as if he's going to get involved in some nifty three-way passing play. And if someone did pass it to him, he'd probably flub it, right? I mean, anyway, Neal is much better. And, Chason is also really good at this, getting in the goalie's eyes and making it tough for him to see shots. And so um, I think they won the trade. I'm not real thrilled with Neal's play at even strength, I have to say. And
He's not, I'm not saying. Listen, he's probably is he below average? Yeah, I think that's a fair comment that he's below average. But Lucic to me was way below average. So even at even strength, they're getting a win out of this because I just think Lucic at even strength was one of the worst players in the NHL, whereas Neal is below average and isn't yet in that lowest category. And he does some good things now and then at even strength and on the power play that result in goals for. Bruce, why don't we go to your bad thing, which is much on the minds of Edmonton Oilers fans tonight?
I dare say I haven't spent any time on Twitter tonight
Oh God,
when I'm working the game, so I just watch for myself.
yeah,
Well, I have to say, as an Oilers fan, I'm a fan blogger, right? This is where I come from. And as a younger man, I was pretty hot-headed and temperamental towards the refs. So, with that caveat, I'm going to have to say
as a younger
that
man.
this is the first time this year where I felt like my team got hosed, and I think my team got hosed on both the tying and winning goals. Very, very marginal calls went in favor of Vancouver. To me, Horvat's goal is a distinct kicking motion. He doesn't just reach back for the puck, but he pulls his skate through the puck and kicks it into the net. Seemed pretty obvious to me, but apparently to referees Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder, it wasn't that obvious. So it was that was the 2-2 goal. And then after denying any number of fairly obvious infractions during the game, they called the thinnest of thin too many men penalty with 8 minutes to go in a 2-2 game for a line change where the guy coming on, it's like a half second between the guy coming on and the guy going off. And he doesn't even touch the puck, and it's a zone entry. It's not like it's some huge uh, disturbance of the force or something. I mean, anyway, to call that after all the crap they let go, and then on the power play before the game-winning goal was scored, Elias Pettersson slashed Darnell Nurse basically in the face, swinging at a puck, followed through, caught Nurse, no problem. And the power play carries on, and they score the winning goal. And by this time, I was seething. And even my lovely wife, who's very non. Usually she doesn't go there, and she said the Oilers got. She actually used a bad word. by the refs tonight, and I couldn't do
Yeah, you know
anything
what?
but
And
agree with her again.
I I was first I was more mad at the Oilers than I was at the refs.
Oh, I
And I
was a
was mad
little
at the
bit
refs
too.
earlier in the game because
Oh
I
man.
saw that like that Horvat, he just held McDavid as he's crossing the ice in the game. Like he's hacking him, then he puts his hand on his hip. It's an
He hooks
obvious
him, and
penalty.
then he hooks him to catch up with him, and then he pulls him down. It's an obvious penalty they call
Peterson
on anybody against anybody. You just automatic. The ref's arm goes up on that. It can,
Elias Elias Peterson going through the crease. I mean, knocking into Koskinen like that. That's you
they
can't
call,
do
well,
that.
they did call it, and they called Patrick Russell got into a scrum with one of the Canucks, and
Oh
they
yeah,
singled out Russell to even it up. I mean,
well
that is
that's
just
ridiculous.
pure crap.
That is pure crap. So I'm agreeing with you early in
Uh,
the game, and I tweeted about it. I was complaining
I
about
was
Russell,
mad early in the
but
game, and then
Bruce, I think
the
that
two goal causing decisions in the third period just put me on the boiler.
okay. Here's what I'm going to say about the first one, is that it was close enough to someone just going in at the net and the stopping at the net, puck hitting him on the skate. It wasn't a distinct kicking motion.
Yeah,
It was
people
a
always
distinct
follow through on those plays.
Listen, I've seen other goals like that counted and goals scored by the Oilers counted where very similar, and I'm okay with that. I got to be okay with that. I got to be okay with Horvat's goal because if an Oilers scored it that way, I'd be saying, yeah, that was fair. So I'm not going to say anything. And Bruce, I'm going to get to segue to my bad thing right now. Listen, Leon Draisaitl was right with that guy. There's no way Horvat should be in position. Draisaitl should be between him and the net. And what happens? No, Draisaitl just lets him go to the net. Draisaitl flies on by. He should have been between Horvat and the net. That's fundamental defense. Draisaitl was not there, and that's why that goal scored. We're not having this conversation if Leon Draisaitl had just taken the care to cover his man for 2 seconds as he's going to the net like he should. And that's what made me angry on that play. Just like on the first goal was more of a you lose a face-off. It is your job as the center to not let that guy get in there and get a shot, right? You block his body. Don't let him shoot him. Draisaitl let that one in. I wasn't happy about that. But that goal by Horvat, that's terrible. That is terrible defense by Leon Draisaitl. And we're not having this talk about what the ref did if Leon had been covering his man.
So if let's say Leon had taken his stick though, like a good defensive player is he also supposed to take both of his skates?
Yeah, I don't see. Again, I think it was a defensible call. Now the other one with McDavid, I do. I also think it was a defensible call. I mean, I think McDavid did interfere with the play, and the other guy the owner still was on the ice. Like he did get in the way of that Vancouver Canuck player rushing in to the Oilers zone. So if you're really really picky as an NHL ref and you want to call that, you can call that. But in the context of this game, I'm going to agree with you here on that one because although it's a mental error by McDavid slightly to get on the ice a microsecond too early, really that's a pretty tough call in the context of this game where so much was being let go throughout the
Also,
game. So I'm not as I'll give you that one, but I don't
and
give you the Horvat one. I think that was a. I think it
okay,
was.
well,
I actually think it was the correct.
watch where his skate goes. It's a clear to me follow through of a kicking motion that deliberately designed to pull the puck
I
into the
think
net.
that
The
goal
rule
that
says distinct kicking motion. To me, it was.
the spirit of that rule is Bruce. They don't want people making a dangerous play in front of the net by
It
kicking at the puck, and that wasn't anywhere close to
wasn't
it.
dangerous, but it was a kicking
So, but
motion.
that's why they have that rule, okay? So that's kind of what they're looking for. Is it that kicking motion that they want to eliminate from the game, or is it just kind of a player redirecting the puck with the skate? They're okay with the redirection. I think that was the right call by the referee. So
He didn't just turn the skate to me. He turned his skate and he pulled it through the puck and he followed through with the skate. It was like he shot the puck with the skate. And anyway, and then after the 3-2 goal on the next shift, Caleb Jones is coming out of his own zone and Jay Beagle swings around and he chops the skates out from under Jones as he's coming out of his own zone. And all of a sudden the refs are back into this mode. Well, there's nothing to see here.
I thought the refs would be
Oh,
looking for
man.
any excuse they could
Yeah,
think of to
that's
give the Oilers
normally what you
a
think.
power
Yeah.
play. I was expecting I'm thinking,
And that was
okay,
an obvious
when's the
foul, and
power
again,
play coming? When's it coming?
never.
Yeah, they were terrible. They were terrible. Just the missed call the early in the game with on
Oh,
Horvat was just terrible. Like, how do you miss that? There's two referees out there.
obvious as it can be.
Idiots. All right. What is your number?
Well, my number is 2, and that's because that's the number of goals that the Oilers score practically every game these days. You'd never believe this team had the top 2 scorers in the NHL because they score. This is from uh, game 27 to game 40. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 5, which they managed to lose. 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 2. Like
Oh,
it's almost every game that, maybe one game in 3 that they're getting a third goal. I mean, they're never getting shut out. They're consistently getting 1 or 2.
well, Bruce, as I
But
wrote earlier today, Nuge has been scoring. He got a goal today, but he's been scoring at the rate of a fourth line scorer
yeah, I read that.
this year, and they've really missed him. He's been a big part of their attack, and yeah, they obviously
But
have some
tonight,
problems.
and tonight they're big guns. I mean, they each got an assist on Clefbaum's goal on the power play, but they were road passes. And
Yeah,
really, they created very, very little. I don't know what the final count was for scoring chances, but the big boys were largely held in check, and they just didn't seem to have much jump in their step
they had 7 scoring chances, the Oilers, so that's a low number.
for the
Like,
team. Yeah.
yeah, 7 for the Oilers and 9 for the Canucks. Yeah, I agree,
Like,
Bruce.
Top gun offense is, it's getting to be alarming. I mean, that's a 14 game span now where 31 goals, barely 2 goals a game, and most goals with 2 goals in the game.
and there's no easy answer. Like I heard Tippett talking about this. Like, well, he says they're getting in there and they're just not scoring on their chances. Like they're not bearing down. But I don't think it's a gift to score a goal. To as Scotty Bowman calls it, to light the light. That is a gift that only some players have, and it's not something that you can suddenly. Well, I'm going to go and I know you can put more pucks to the net and screen the goalie more, and yes, you can create greasy goals, and maybe that's what they have to do. But there is, other than McDavid and Draisaitl, in terms of players who can light the light on this team, man,
You better hope James Neal's in the goalie's face because that's
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 your
all they
next
got to
best
do
bet.
tonight. Yeah.
Because and Nuge isn't an even strength scorer this year, and they don't have a defenseman who's going to do it. There's no one who's going to pound in the goals. I mean, Ethan Bear might next year. I could see Ethan Bear stepping up
Yeah,
and
he had a couple good shots
starting to
tonight.
score more. Like he might assert himself. He might get more confident. He take another leap in his game, and maybe Caleb Jones will too. Caleb Jones in Bakersfield, as I recall, was fantastic at putting pucks at the net that got deflected, and
Mhm.
that's the play I was looking for tonight because he was playing so. And we are gonna see more goals coming through Bear and Jones's stick as the year goes on. But and I like the checking line of Shea and Archibald and Nygaard, but I don't know if we're going to see a lot of goals out of those guys. It's hard to. I mean, Nygaard might get a few. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, my number, Bruce, is minus 16. Since December 1st, Leon Draisaitl has been by far the worst plus minus player in the NHL. And in, what is it? In 11 games, he's minus 16.
I've got bad
And
news for you. In
what's
12 games, he's minus 19 because those totals don't include tonight's -3.
Oh, geez, I didn't add. Yeah, I was looking at NHL.com. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's quite all right. I'm just updating
Oh
for you.
God, 12 games minus. So he's the next guy is Mike Green, who's played 9 games and was minus 11.
On
Alex
Detroit.
De, Alex DeBrincat, Chicago, 12 games minus 10. So this is Leon Draisaitl, who spends a lot of time with Connor McDavid and Zach Cassian, which is a pretty good line, and Nurse and Bear. How can he be that? Like, and this is the terrible thing. I didn't do a count yet. I mean, we've done this in the past, but he's responsible on a lot of those goals, like the 2 tonight, right? He's the main culprit on a lot of these goals. The 2 goals tonight was both his men. His
Yeah.
men scored both those goals. I don't know how he's feeling about it, but I'm not feeling very good about it.
Oh,
And I don't know how Dave Tippett's feeling about it, but he's about ready to blow because you can't have that from your like earlier this year there was talk about Leon Draisaitl winning the Selke Trophy and about Leon Draisaitl
yeah.
wanting to be known as this player who's this great two-way player. Like he's nowhere close to that.
Yeah, he's fallen off a cliff. I don't understand it, frankly. Like he was very close to being the best player in the NHL
for a
for the
month in October.
first 20 games. Um, and then since then, I mean, David, in his last 15 games, Leon has been a minus player in 14 of the 15 games, and even in the other one. Like his last plus game was November 23rd at Vegas. And not just even, like minus every night but one out of 15 games. Like I don't remember ever seeing the like.
I'm
I
just
mean, there's two empty net goals in there, but the Oilers have had a chance to score empty net goals too in that time, and they just haven't been able to level that count either. But it's staggering to me. He had 8 minus games in a row. He had an even, and now he's had 6 more minus games in a row. It's like he's fallen off the earth, and I
so
just don't get it.
in the first month of the season, in October, he
Uh-huh.
played 14 games. He had 25 points and he was +8.
Yeah.
And yeah, since then he's like -20, I think, or something like that. So yeah, I can't I don't get it either, Bruce. Like it's just really strange is what it is. It's like, was he just getting caught up in being an offensive on the in the offensive game too much, like thinking offense, 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 like wanting to lead the league in scoring, or like I don't know. But whatever it is, he's just got to get grounded again in the defensive aspect of hockey because it's killing the Oilers' playoff chances.
Yeah.
He
Well.
If he wants to make the playoffs, he could lead. He and McDavid can lead this particular team can make the playoffs. They're good enough to do it, I think, because of the defensive depth, the checking, the PK, the power play, the goaltending. They could scrape in, but they're not going to be scraping in if this continues. This trend continues, and it's been 2 months. It's like we're
Mhm.
looking at December's almost over here, so we're talking about a 2 month trend.
Well, we're talking about. I mean, that span since his +2 game in Vegas. That was the first game of their most recent 2 game winning streak, and since then they
Yeah.
haven't been able to win two in a row. And part of the reason is that their first line has been getting outscored in games. It's not. I mean, the whole idea of this team, I thought, was to try and hold the other team even during the rest of the game, so that the big guns can kill them. And the big guns have been, frankly, killing the Oilers more than they've been killing the other team this last 6 weeks.
Ay, ay, ay.
It brings me zero. You can see it on my face, I'm sure. Zero pleasure to say this,
Yeah.
but with you just got to look at the cold hard stats plus the actual watching of the games and the close analysis that you and I do of the scoring chances, and we're seeing many errors of commission and omission, and the top offensive players on Edmonton are having the biggest problems on the defensive side of the puck and giving it all back and more.
Okay, Bruce, because we're going into Christmas here, and this is our last podcast before
Cheer up,
Christmas,
Bruce.
let's each give our just really quickly. We won't go on
Yep.
at length, but we'll each give three. We're going to give
Okay.
three most encouraging things each about the team this year. What's the three things that have encouraged you the most? So we'll start. I can start if you want.
Okay.
I'll start with Adam Larson.
Okay.
Um, he in the last little while he didn't have his best game tonight, but he was still pretty good. But in the last little while, Adam Larson has played his best hockey as an Edmonton Oiler in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And he, let's face it, about a month ago when he came back from injury, there was a point where everyone's thinking, yeah, maybe we should trade this guy. Let's move this guy out. Probably the sooner the better, even possibly, because he's not getting the job done. He looks like a statue out there, but he's starting to move his feet. He's getting involved. He's such a cranky, ornery, effective defenseman when he's playing well. So, Adam Larson, what's yours? What's your encouraging thing?
Uh, well, since I just spent a couple of minutes ripping on the guy, I will say Leon Draisaitl's playing the first 20 games of this year when he showed that he was capable of being as good as there was in the league for an extended period of time. That player is in there somewhere. We just have to figure out how he unlocks himself, that side of him, the Dr. Jekyll part of his game more often. And whether it's just, I think it's a matter of exhaustion as much as anything. Like he really has been overused. And it's the same problem the team had last year, where they were relying on about seven skaters to play 20 minutes a night, and then those guys eventually ran out of juice. And
Bruce, that's an excellent theory. That's as good a theory. Like that, just, as soon as you said it, it was like, yeah, there's your answer, right? They ran him into the ground, and he's mentally exhausted. Like just the concentration it takes to play the game at this level all the time, and to be bearing down every second that you're out there, and you're out there for a lot of seconds, and you're tired a lot of that time, and possibly trying to do too much, putting a ton of pressure on yourself. So yeah, exhaustion. Okay, my good thing will be Connor McDavid. Came into the year with had a major injury. Still
mhm.
haven't. I read again that he didn't have surgery now, so there's been different kind of insider information on this. I'll go at this point that he didn't have surgery. They decided to let it heal on his own. But whatever the case is, it was a serious, very serious knee injury, and he's just been flying. He's just been looking as good as ever. That's very encouraging. And I don't think, although his plus minus has taken a hit as well.
Mhm.
I still see him playing his A game, generally speaking, and playing pretty well. There's been some defensive breakdowns there as well.
Quite a few.
Yeah, maybe. But nonetheless, just the fact that he's healthy, flying, leading the league in scoring, I believe, just he's Connor McDavid and he's attacking like as well as he's ever attacked in his life. That's a very encouraging thing after that knee injury by the evil Mark Giordano. What's your next encouraging thing?
I think I'm going to go with the emergence of rookie defenseman Ethan Bear as a real bright spot on this season for the Oilers. Bear has got just double checking 4 goals and I think 12 points. And yes, 4, 8, 12. And he has, but where he's impressed me the most is with the puck behind his own blue line, with not just uh, his when he recovers the puck, how quickly he looks, makes his decision, and distributes it, and delivers an accurate pass the vast majority of the time. And it's a quick decision, and it can be a 5 foot pass or it can be a stretch pass. He makes a very very fast um, read and decision of how to distribute the puck, and he's a very naturally good one. He does make mistakes. He's a rookie. I think we're going to see more offense and more points out of him as he gains a little bit of experience and maybe calms down a little bit when he gets grade A scoring chances in the slot that he buries him, because I know he does have an excellent shot. Uh, but his overall his what the Oilers so desperately needed was a right shooting defenseman who could play in the top four and move the puck. And Ethan Bear is all of those things.
It's kind of sweet, eh? Just like their prayers are answered, what we were hoping to see. And, you know, it's kind of it might be considered a stretch, but if there was an expansion draft and you could only protect one defenseman, might be Ethan Bear because he's right shot, because he's a puck mover, and because he's the youngest of the really valuable defensemen. Um, he's just been playing. He's just been stellar, holding his own, generally speaking, against tough competition, moving the puck really well. Um, and we saw him take a major step. There's a chance he's going to take another one because I think there's some offensive aspects to his game when he finally does get on the power play, and I think that's going to happen after he signs his next contract. Um, when he finally does get on the power play, I think he's going to do some damage there because his shot is better than Clefbaum's shot, and he's a slightly more intuitive and trickier passer than Clefbaum. So I can't wait for that to happen. Okay, my third most encouraging sign is Mikko Koskinen.
Beat me to it.
Didn't have his best game tonight, but he might have had that third one, the shot from Hughes, although there was like
You didn't see it.
multiple screens. So I'm not. I had it as an A chance because it's scored within the crease by a Vancouver player screening him. Essentially, he didn't get his stick on it, but he blocked his view. But every game that he's in there, Bruce, I just there's hardly been a game where like I think of one game actually, maybe two where he's let in stinker goals. He's just been as good or better than the opposition goalie most nights, and that's fantastic. It looks like the Oilers have a number one goalie, and we've seen it now. This is 3 months. We're 3 months in, and he's doing it night after night after night. And boy, do you ever need that if you're going to win in the NHL? And it's all the better because he signed that 3-year contract, 4.5 million. Well, if you get, let's say, 50 games out of Koskinen, and he's is as good as the opposing goalie or better most of those nights, he starts to be a bargain contract. Not gonna say that's what it is. Who knows? But
Right.
they're getting their money's worth right now. They're getting their money's worth and then some right now out of Mikko Koskinen, and it's fantastic. What's your third thing? Do you have a
My third thing, I'm gonna go broadband and say the performance of Oilers special teams.
okay?
And that's really the only reason that's keeping them in games. A lot of nights they've lost the battle at even strength and won it on special teams, and more than once they've come out with a win because they outscored the other team by 2 or 3 goals on special teams and won by one. A little bitter pill to talk about it tonight when they've just given up the game winner on a third period power play goal against. But the penalty kill, with the cast of thousands of Ken Holland's pros that he brought in, and those pros show their proness in the some of the grunt work, and penalty killing is definitely that. And the big guns, uh, for all that we've had some issues with their play without the puck. With the puck, they are magicians, and they produce regularly on the power play. They produced one tonight. It was more run of the mill than some of the ones that they get, but they have the puck on the string, and they have so many options, and they have so much movement on the power play that the other team really has a hard time defending when they don't know where McDavid or Draisaitl are going to go at any given moment in time. It's not the static power play that gave us fits in the past.
Alrighty, excellent. So 500. Let's just stay 500 the rest of the year, real 500, and they can make the playoffs. How does that sound?
Yeah, I had a big chance tonight with all of Calgary and Vegas and Arizona all losing and a lead in the third period, but they couldn't even nurse 1 point out of that game. Even a loser point would have been, they would have stepped
Yeah,
up.
that's what I
Instead, it's a
was.
huge night for the Canucks because they gained 2 points on every significant
Yeah,
rival.
that's
And
what I was
but
thinking.
here's a good thing for you. The three California teams are tied for last place in the Pacific Division.
Was
When
down
was the
there where
last time?
Chicago, the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that may have changed tonight. I'm not sure who all won tonight, but Anaheim 34 points, Kings 34 points, Sharks 34 points. Look at
good,
that.
good.
11 regulation wins each.
Looks good on all of them.
Yeah, well they've been crowning us for years, so it doesn't hurt my feelings to see all three of them down there.
Alrighty. Well, Bruce, thanks for uh, the work you're doing here at the Cult of Hockey. I'm so lucky to work with both you and Kurt. So thanks. I'm just grateful for that. And thanks everyone for listening to the Cult of Hockey podcast. You'll hear us again in 2019 before the dawning of the new decade. But it's just fantastic. I think the kind of the group of people that we have interacting with us on Twitter, on social media, listening to the podcast. It's makes being an Oiler fan, makes hanging in there through all these kind of ups and downs quite enjoyable. So that's what I'm finding.
Yeah, I enjoy it too. We got every once in a while we get into a spat with someone or other, but we have to set them straight, right? But honestly, I mean, by far the lion's share of the exchanges we have, they can be lively, but generally they don't come with hard feelings, and certainly not from our end. So we enjoy the interaction with the fans and the social media. That's one thing. Like all the years that uh, I was a season ticket holder in the 70s, 80s, early 90s, and we had reputation, Edmonton fans, of being very knowledgeable fans. But I couldn't tell you what someone was thinking two sections over unless I listened to the John Short's radio program once a week. There wasn't this sort of back and forth and exchange of information and analysis that goes on nowadays. I've learned a tremendous amount about hockey in these last few years after watching it really my whole life. So it's
Isn't that
uh,
the truth?
it's really changed the whole axis of what how the game is played and how we understand it's being played. So there's that, and just the interaction with people is that's really what it's all about. I think.
I think the learning curve for all of us has just been fantastic. Just the knowledge you pick up about the game and statistical analysis and how to think about hockey. Superb. All right, Bruce, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everyone out there, and thanks all of you for listening.
And in the meantime and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.